If there's one thing that we're all acutely aware of right now, it's the price increases that we've seen on this stuff, DDR5 memory, and more recently, of course, graphics cards. And that's why in today's video, I thought I'd take a look with real up-to-date part pricing at the options you have at your disposal for a few key budgets, ranging from that $750 price point, at least that's the aim, up to around that $1,500 mark. I'll be walking through how to navigate these price increases on memory, GPUs, and recently SSDs too, and what you should do if you're in the market for a gaming PC build right now. Let's do this. The Deepcool Assassin VC Elite is here, with powerful vapor chamber cooling to keep your CPU temperatures low and frame rates high. Available in a black or white color option with a powerful TDP of up to 300 watts and switch to opt between quiet and performance mode, the VC Elite has you covered. What's more, the cooler comes with two fans, a 120mm on the front and large 140mm in the middle to provide top tier airflow and improve CPU cooling further. Learn more and check out the Assassin VC Elite lineup of coolers at the first link in the description below. Now I'm going to start off today's video by booting up Newegg and trying to build a really budget-oriented gaming PC. The aim in my head is to be at around $750, but I'm also trying to think of the cheapest reasonable build we can assemble with brand new components. Now that starts off with the CPU first and foremost, and I think for this one we're probably going to be going for a last generation product. This will allow us to use cheaper DDR4 memory, get cheaper motherboards, and largely retain lots of the same performance. Searching for Ryzen 5000 CPUs, and we can see already here we've got a 5500 for just 89 USD, which is going to represent a significant cost saving compared to a newer 7600X or 9600X, and that's going to go straight in the basket. It's offering us a few different combo deals which definitely are worth having a look at. And let's start off, shall we, with the memory. I am normally a big proponent for having at least 32 gigs of RAM, but in a recent video I made where I tested 16 versus 32 gigs, I'll link it in the cards now, we found that on a budget build in particular, it actually makes no difference. Now, obviously, if you're doing lots of multitasking and other stuff, more memory is beneficial. But right now, is 16 gigs feasible? Yes, it is. And I would argue that is the route you should go. Now, this kit looks pretty good value. I'm going to add it to the cart, but actually go back and see if there's anything we can do that's a little bit better that's going to represent more value for money. So 150 is where we're at on our team group kit. Looking at the list here for 16 gigs of DDR5, DDR4! James, come on, what are you doing? 16 gigs of DDR4, can we see any further cost savings? The answer is actually still no. There's this Corsair LPX kit for 144, but there's only a $5 difference, and I believe we've got some sort of combo offer that we actually achieve by adding in this Team Group T-Force Delta kit. Now, I'm also going to go ahead and find a B550 motherboard as well for this particular system. There's loads of options here. I want to go for one that's got Wi-Fi built in, as I believe that is a pretty basic feature nowadays. ASRock, we've got something for 80, so that's pretty good. 100 for the MSI Pro, which is a slightly better board, but the ASRock I think will do the job. It's got 4 RAM DIMMs, it's got built-in Wi-Fi, and let's check on the rear I/O. So this is a problem. We've got no USB-C. Let's see if the MSI board fixes that. So we've got none on the rear panel, but the front panel, we do have a USB-C connector. So I'm going to opt to spend the extra $20 for now, because I think that's definitely going to be slightly better. And we've actually got a $10 off promo code, which takes it to 89. Storage is going to be difficult. I'm going to start off with a 500GB NVMe. Now, in any build that's $1,000 or more, you absolutely want to be going for a 1TB drive. However, with $750 budget, we want to keep that spending to an absolute minimum. So let's sort by lowest price actually, and we want to filter down by Gen 4 as well. So let's go ahead and find PCI Express 4.0 and 4.0 X4 and hit apply. This T-Force drive seems to come up time and time again. That's $90. Yeah, that's going to work fantastically well. Interesting, Team Group for both the SSD and the memory showing to be the better value options. So good stuff. I'm also going to add a PC case in at this stage. Why the case before the graphics card? Because I want something that's going to be good value. We need to get a case anyway, so putting it in now just helps to sort of trim down that budget a little bit. Don't want to spend any more than about 65 US, and then what I'm going to do is search by the most popular best-selling items. It's always a good way to go. XT Pro coming in with the rebate at $49.99, but look at this, a G370A. Now that is going to be $40 after the rebate. You get 3 included ARGB fans, loads of mesh. The only downside is it's an ATX case on our motherboard's micro ATX. That's going to look a little out of proportion. I'll pop a build on your screen now where this is the case. You're going to have more empty space, but for $40, we're not going to do a lot better than that. Power supply, I'm also going to go ahead and pick up a 650 watt unit for this build. Again, let's search by the best selling items and let's try and look at where we've got some cheap options. Now, straight away, RAID Max, not a brand I'm massively familiar with, but this is ATX 3.1 and Gen 5 apparently, and that's $40. ASRock Pro Series, that'll be okay, $45. Sam's not bad, but that's $65. MSI A650BN feels like the safe option at $60, but I think probably this $40 RAID Max unit makes the most sense. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check on the PSU tier list, and I'm going to see where this actually ranks to make sure we're not buying a bag of shit. Right, it's the Cobra ATX 3.1 non-modular. It's a C. Now, where's the A650BN that feels like the safe bet? ABN is also a C. So based on that information, let's go for the Cobra. What a great name for a power supply. Now, that brings us to $432 because we're saving $13 on the motherboard, $20 on the CPU, $60 on the memory. What is going on? Oh my goodness me. So we've just got the GPU to go and we've got $320 to spend on the GPU. That is insane. After we pick the GPU, I want to do a little bit of a talk about memory because I feel like I've got some cautiously optimistic things to say. So let's have a look. Now, for $300, we should be able to get a 9060 XT. Okay, this is where we're starting to see some price rises. These 16 gig cards were like sub 400. We might have to go for the 8 gig 9060 XT. Maybe we're going to struggle. Let's add that in and let's see where we're at. So we're 860, but once we actually add all of the different combo savings, 780. So graphics cards have seen big price rises, but actually at $30 over budget, this thing's fantastic. Now, the 9060 XT 8 gig, you might be thinking, James, that's nowhere near enough memory. Like, your solution to the memory crisis can't be to just scrimp out on DRAM and VRAM. However, if you look at the 8 gig 9060 XT, it beats out the 8 gig 5060, beats out the 8 gigabyte 5060 Ti in lots of instances. It beats out both of the ARC cards, the 10 and the 12 gig B570 and B580. When shopping, look at the graphs. Really think about it from a data point of view. Yes, the memory is a constraint, but it's still overall, in my opinion, a better value proposition than something that's got a bit more memory. So this has got the Fantex G370A, a B550M MSI Pro motherboard, a Ryzen 5 5500. We've got a stock cooler, so that's all good. Memory and storage from Team Group, so that's going to bring us in around about $200 for those two. And of course, an XFX 9060 XT and 650 watt Cobra power supply. Now, before I jump up to the next build, when I want to show you here where I'd perhaps spend another $100 and move up to about $850, I want to speak cautiously optimistically. Memory prices have definitely stabilized. Whether they've hit their limit or they're starting to go down, I don't know, but they're not going up anymore. And you can see if you look at price graphs and things like PC Part Picker, I think the memory crisis is actually easing slightly on DRAM. VRAM's a different story because, of course, Nvidia and AMD are making a lot of money selling AI GPUs. However, memory does seem to be perhaps going the other way, probably because no one's buying it at the moment. So I think we've maybe hit the ceiling there. So if I had some more money to spend, what would I do? Now, actually, I would probably go ahead and add in the 16 gigabyte 9060 XT, depending on what the cheapest model is. So if we search by lowest price, so we can get a brand new one for $439. Now, chucking that in the cart takes us to, again, $872. So we're a little over budget again, but actually I wouldn't change much else. You're not going to see a great deal of CPU bottlenecking between the 9060 XT and the 5500. Yes, you could argue the 16 gigs of DDR4 comes into it a little bit more, but to be honest, I still think this makes the most sense. Now, if you've got $1,000 to spend, this is where you can't just keep adding a more powerful graphics card into the mix and hoping for the best. It's not going to work. What I am going to do, though, is maybe stick with the DDR4 platform, but instead of our 500 gig drive, jump up to a terabyte, and instead of 16 gigs of RAM, see if we can get in 32 gigs of DDR5. Honestly, I think 16 gigs from a pure performance standpoint is probably still the better way to go. I said DDR5, I meant DDR4. I've done it again. But let's have a look. Now, okay, DDR4 from King Bank, which is actually a decent brand, $164. Now, you might be thinking, James, that's only $15 more than the kit we just used. But remember, we had a $60 promo discount or combo discount with that. So this is going to be, yeah, still more expensive by about $50, $60, but still pumps us up to 32 gigs, which is great. Also going to go for a 1 terabyte Gen 4 NVMe. And again, I'm going to search here by essentially price low to high and see what we can get our hands on that looks pretty reputable. Patriot is a pretty good brand, the P410. That's around 5,000 megabytes. That's going to be perfect. I'm trying to avoid brands I've not heard of before. Patriot we've used on the channel, not this specific drive, but pretty reputable. That's probably going to be fine. That leaves us with, it says 1,000, but we're presumably, I was going to say we're presumably going to start to see some combo savings, but we've lost, because we've took out the RAM that we were using, we've lost some of those combo savings. Now, at $1,000 on the nose, this is still a better build. We've still fixed the memory issue we had, so we've jumped up up to 32 gigabytes of RAM this time rather than 16. And we've of course got a 1TB SSD. So what you're seeing here is the memory swallow up that extra budget, but we do have a much better foundation to the build overall. To walk you through it in summary, the G370A, the same MSI Pro M B550 motherboard with Wi-Fi, a 16GB 9060 XT, Ryzen 5 5500, 1TB Patriot SSD, 32GB of King Bank memory, and a 650 watt RAID Max power supply. Okay, so two more price points I want to cover off, $1,200 and $1,500. Where do we go from here? Now, I think at $1,500 I want to be on DDR5, but I think at $1,200 actually the better thing to do is stick with DDR4. The good news is we've sorted out the storage and the memory problem, so they are all good now. We haven't got to change those. Power supply, I want to go a little higher end just for kind of peace of mind really, if anything else. Motherboard, maybe we could improve. Case we could probably notch up a little bit as well. But we don't want to go stupid because we've only got $200 extra to spend. Now the next graphics card up from a 16GB 9060 XT is a 5070. So let's see if that's feasible. Now we can get a refurb or an open box. This is interesting. So we expected this might happen where we're starting to see combos where brands are combining power supplies and GPUs or cases and memory, etc. Perhaps in the case of Corsair. I don't always love it, but considering this is one of the cheapest 5070s on the market right now, and this power supply from MSI is legitimately very good. Again, let's see how it stacks up on the PSU tier list by going to MSI, and it's the MAG A750 GL, A750 GL grade B, which is pretty decent, and it's fully PCI Gen 5 compatible. So actually, I think that's going to make a lot of sense. Jumping into the basket, where does this put us? So the 9060 XT 16GB can come out. That puts us at 1115. So we've got a bit of room to play with. Let's do PC case next up and try and find something that looks really rather nice. Let's again search by best selling, limit the budget down to about 90, ideally less than this, and see where we are. Now, the Fantex XT Pro Ultra, I've built in this a lot. It's one of our most popular cases on GeekaPC, which is my UK pre-building company. I'll link that down below. Really, really nice. We're going to struggle to get much better than that for the price point. A lot of these are just like big nose from me. Like that kind of looks okay. Fantex XT-M3 is nice as well. That's only 49 after the rebate. But in all honesty, I actually think the XT Pro Ultra is the best of the cases on this list. Also, of course, I'm going to pick up a CPU air cooler just to try and give our 5500 a little bit more to sort of call home about. Something like this PC cooler, $15 with a promo code, pretty standard tower air cooler. I think that is only 92 millimeters though, so we want to jump up to at least 120. Here we go, PC cooler, 15% promo code. You could go for the Vetru V5, Thermalright Peerless Assassin. This is going to work pretty well for what we want. Now, let's go ahead and look in the basket and see where we are, where some improvements can be made. Now, to me, the thing that strikes out immediately at this $1,200 budget is the motherboard's still a little on the weak side. The CPU, in all honesty, is still really not that great. We could try and jump up here to a Ryzen 5600X. Let's see where that's going to land in. So that's 140, 5600 non-X, 145. Could we do 5700X 3D? This is where you kind of really start to struggle on those last gen parts. Stuff just gets expensive. Things get a little bit difficult. Now 5600X we can throw in for 140. The motherboard's still not fantastic, and I feel we're hitting the limitations of that last gen AM4 platform. Ideally, let's take the AM4 platform out of the equation and see where we can then land with our RTX 5070. The cooler can probably stay, but of course the CPU needs to go and the memory will need to go too, as we're likely going to move to DDR5. Now the Ryzen 9600X is going to be perfectly adequate for our 5070 and be a really good combo. And interestingly, again, I mean, this is kind of crazy. It currently comes with a free Core Liquid A13 240mm. Not the world's best cooler, but going to be more than good enough. Let's take the cooler out then. That's the CPU sorted. Motherboard, we're going to go for either B850 or B650. In all honesty, B850 boards are not that expensive. You can see here, this GeekaWhat board's really good, 179, a lot better than this MSI Pro board for 150. Let's see what you guys are buying. Let's have a look at the best selling items and try and find kind of what's going to fit in budget. That's a nice board if we've got a white theme, but we don't have a white theme. That's good if we're Micro ATX, but we're not Micro ATX. Probably going to land with this GeekaWhat board. I'm a big fan of the B850 Eagle Wi-Fi 6E. This is the Gaming X Wi-Fi 6E, fundamentally a very similar product underneath. So let's add that in as well. Let's also go for 32 gigabytes of DDR5 memory. And this is where things could start getting a bit unpleasant. Now let's go lowest to highest and see what we can get. Now, what? Surely not. Hang on a minute. DDR5 is CL40. Is that a pricing error? What? Now, apparently, there's a 32 gig Kingston kit, but on the basis that it's like a third of the price of anything else, I'm going to exclude it. It's been banned. Patriot, a pretty good brand. You can see here there's an RGB one for $5 more or a non-RGB one. The speeds and latencies on them are exactly the same, so I'm going to go for the slightly higher end kit instead. Now, what that's probably going to do is it's going to push us to that $1,500 budget within about $30. This, though, is a much better build than what we tried to build for $1,200 and ended up spending $1,300 on, giving you a much newer platform, a nicer Fantex XT Pro Ultra case, a really powerful RTX 5070 GPU with included MSI power supply, Ryzen 5 9600X with included 240mm cooler, a Patriot P410, and 32 gigs of Patriot's Viper Venom memory. So they then are a few different builds at key price points. It was clear that at $750 and $850 it's achievable, and it's very easy to get to that $1,000 mark with a more solid base. But spill over the $1,000 budget and we start to end up with some difficult decisions around whether the last gen components are really sufficient for some of the newer next gen GPU hardware. Once we're at that $1,500 price point, it's clear you can build something actually pretty good right now. Yes, you're heavily reliant on incentives of things like free power supplies and coolers apparently, but it shows that things are heading at least in the right direction. Would you guys build any of these systems? Let me know, and I'll leave links to both Newegg and also Amazon so you can check part pricing on all of the configs that I've shown you guys today. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more PC building content, get subscribed. There's loads of it here on the channel, and I've been building PCs here for, wow, quite a long time, and I'd love for you to join for the ride. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.